Alright folks, let's take a look at the KampfPz 3 Project 07 HK Premium Tier 9 German tank destroyer. Looks like a German copy of a UDES 03 or their version of an S-tank, but this thing has way more stuff going on the slope armor. So more protrusions like this vent right here and this port for the autocannon. So these are kinda negating the effectiveness of the slope armor, right? What if you get hit? You get pinned. So there's a lip for the remote controlled machine gun in the back, as well as more prominent of a commander chamber. Or this is not a commander cupola, so it's like a room for the commander, but that is likely the driver right here. And the radio operator is likely behind the remote controlled machine gun, but 3-man crew. Also kinda not fitting the German high tier tank destroyers with like 6-man crews, so not particularly well for crew training, but what the hell, whatever. So more prominent tower support for the machine gun. So what if you get here? There's no slope armor right there. You'll get pinned. So kind of defeats the purpose of the S-tanks and their design, but this thing is more like the UDES, where the gun is not exactly fixed. You can move up and down like the UDES 03 compared to the actual STRV 103s, but it has two modes like with the S-tanks, siege and unsiege, or mobile moving mode. So you could actually play this thing and try to shoot without the actual use of siege mode, which might be more effective. Who the hell knows, but I have a bias for the S-tanks. I love mine, but this thing is kind of wacky. It does have 45mm on the hull front, which is dramatically better than 40 because it protects you against 122s and 130s, mostly Soviet guns. So it already protects you against 120s and 105s, but that extra 5mm with the 3 caliber rule, which is pretty nice. So it is effective, but you have more weak spots, supposedly. Supposedly. Open chamber for the breach. That's interesting. Like, how the hell do you load this thing? Is there like a little window right here where you poke your hand out and load the gun? It's an open breach. That's like, is one of the crew member like sticking like right out of here? Like, this is the radio operator, so does he come out, put the shell in, and the commander comes out and fire the gun or something? I don't know. I would love to see the historical reference for this thing, but alright. Tier 9 Premium German tank destroyer has only 320 alpha for the 105. It has the high pin like the S-tanks, but I think it has like 10mm less compared to the S-tanks. Actually, wait a second. Whoa. It's not 10mm less. It's 40mm less. They have about 300mm pin baseline APCR. That is kind of low for a tier 9 tank destroyer. That's like a heavy tank gun. Better heavy tank gun, but still, that is not a tank destroyer. Especially not for the S-tank. So penetration is wonky for the APCR standard shell. Gold shell is high explosive anti-tank, so not half bad, but it has only 320 alpha. That is low. For a 105, it is the same treatment with the 𝒕'𝒔, so it is like that with low alpha for a 105 for some reason, but high explosive is not half bad. It is likely a plastic head or squash head, but 7 seconds of reload without siege mode. So mobile mode, you have more DPM. That is about 2,800 or so. So about the same as the actual S-tank, but when you go into siege mode, you have less DPM, down to about 2,000, which is not good. Aim time gets better in siege mode, but you have less DPM. So it's the same scenario with the KampfPz, the tier 9 special medium tank that we got from Battle Pass, but yeah, it's in a tank destroyer form without a turret. So it is more awkward to practically play with this thing. How do you play with this thing? It does have better accuracy without the siege mode, 0.36 compared to 0.4 or so. But in siege mode, you have the best accuracy. So 3 degrees of gun depression, 17 elevation. You could use this gun while moving the hull back and forth or to the sides, but it is not as restrictive as the actual 103s. It has, yeah, you kind of move the gun to the sides. 60 rounds, 3-man crew, doesn't really fit for full crew training into Brothers in Arms, so kind of weird. And there's one vehicle, one German tank destroyer that doesn't have a radio operator, and I think that's the 𝑰𝒕'𝒔. All the other ones have a radio operator, other than the lower tiers like the 𝑮𝒐𝒅. But yeah, okay. Mobility wise, 65 km/h top speed, 20 in siege mode, 18 in reverse. It's slower in siege mode, obviously, but compared to the 𝒂'𝒏, it's also a little bit more slower without the turret. 𝒂'𝒏 is like 30 km/h top speed. You still could move about a little bit, but it is still more mobile than the 103s in siege mode, so you're not as restrictive while trying to shoot in siege mode. But horsepower per ton ratio is higher than the S tanks, which is good, and hull traverse speed is not half bad for a tank destroyer, but turret traverse speed is likely for the gun going up and down, so you get 9 more degrees in the hydrodynamic suspension mode, and 3 more for the gun elevation, so move the gun up and down. But switching takes 3 seconds, which is 1 second more than the 𝒂'𝒏. Health is a little bit below average for a unarmored, quote-unquote, tank destroyer, so getting hit by artillery shell does hurt, but 45mm at the hull front is good for the 3 caliber rule, and 30 for the hull sides, 20 for the rear. Turret armor is likely for, I hope it's not for the actual remote control machine gun, otherwise that's a big weak spot. It might likely be for just a gun, but we have to see if this thing is actually a weak spot. If it is, you get hit. It sticks out like a sore thumb when you're in siege mode trying to use your slope armor, but practically defeating the purpose of the S tank design, right? Oh well. View range is 10 less than the actual STRV 103-0 at tier 9. Radio is standard, so it doesn't train your crew well, I guess. Only 3-man crew. It is a sniper tank destroyer, so like the 𝒕'𝒔s, but oh man, why does it have such low alpha? That's not good. I mean, baseline DPM is good. It's same as any other tank destroyer, like with the 103-0, but it does have better aim time and accuracy than non-siege mode S tanks, but it doesn't have the DPM when you turn into siege mode. It's only about 2000. I mean, you could get into position faster, but might as well just play with the 𝒂'𝒏, right? It's the same thing, but 𝒂'𝒏 has more alpha. Not as good camo though. Camo is not half bad, but I'm struggling to think a way to make this thing work. Just because there are so many weak spots later on this thing, and if you do get spotted, artillery shell does hurt. So 45 is good against normal shells, but high explosive coming your way from artillery, bad day. Well, then again, you can reverse quickly out of this situation with such a high speed in siege mode too. How the hell do you make this thing work? It is a premium after all, but shell velocity is high for APCR round. That's nice. High explosive anti-tank is not that bad, and it's alright, but the alpha is still kind of low. Yeah, just buff the alpha to 400 or 390. Well, KampfPz 3 Project 07HK. Health is also low, so that is a big deal. I'm worried about the armor not holding up. I mean, you'll get trolled if it managed to pin your vent port or your autocannon mount. So that would be a sad day, but I love my S-Tank, no question about it. This thing doesn't feel as proficient as an S-Tank to me. It is more mobile, but let's take a look at equipments before I make the final judgment. So obviously rammer for this thing. There are some variable equipment loadout. You could choose camo net, like a traditional old school playstyle, or you could go with Vince or likely turbocharger. But I stick with camping like a bitch, so binoculars and camouflage net, the classic loadout before the actual equipment 2.0. But you could go with low exhaust, so you're more mobile, therefore having this one is likely better than camouflage net. You could choose optics than the actual binoculars. I don't think you need like anything else for firepower than the actual rammer. You could use improved aiming, but don't know how well the gun will work without the siege mode. So maybe enhanced gun lane drive would be a little bit better than better accuracy. So if you want to be traditional and stick to the classic, go with binoculars and camouflage net. Otherwise, choose the low exhaust or optics or both. But you do need the rammer. The rammer is kind of important. So field modification wise, the first one is always better. So suspension durability as well as terrain resistance, no brainer, choose this one. It also helps out with effective hull traverse speed, even though it says -5%, that doesn't mean much. You get better effective traverse, so choose this one out of this one. Better accuracy or better aim time. Ooh. I am worried about playing this thing without siege mode. That is the main concern if you want the DPM. Otherwise, if you play in siege mode, you will want better accuracy. Aim time is non-existent in siege mode, but ooh, this is a hard choice. It's up to you. It's a toss-up, but I would think having better aim time might be worthwhile in some scenarios where you don't need your siege mode. You need to run away and shoot while moving a little bit faster than in siege mode. So therefore, having better aim time might be a little bit better. Might be. Alright, this one is shoot after concealment or concealment after firing or better view range. I would say better view range. If you're already shooting, then obviously you are negating your camouflage, and therefore you only get like 1% extra or less, or not even that much. So 1%, 1.3%. Having better view range is dramatic. No question, having better view range is always good for camping bastards. So yeah, I think having better view range. And finally, for snipers, better reload time or better aim circle size. Now, for the S-Tank, for the STRV-103-0, you are more or less in siege mode when you're firing your gun. You don't usually fire the gun without siege mode, right? So therefore, the circle, the aim circle, is not always that big. So therefore, you don't need that aim circle to be that good. Therefore, you want to go with better reload, get more DPM out of it. This thing is kinda opposite, where you're juggling between siege mode and rapid mode or moving mode. So I still think DPM is better. If you're panicking and playing this thing like a shotgun, might as well have the DPM. So choose the DPM. But how the hell do I rate this thing? I want to like it, but there's so many downsides to it. It's German, so it cannot be good. It cannot be OP. It's like the 𝑰𝒕'𝒔. Originally, it has like 420 alpha or something for the 105. It was pretty good. Got nerfed the alpha, nerfed the DPM, nerfed the dispersion as well. Oh god. You might as well play with the 𝒕'𝒔. 𝒕'𝒔 is not that half bad. But if you're playing the 𝒕'𝒔, might as well play with the Leopard prototype. Yeah, if you're playing this thing, might as well play with the Leopard prototype. It does what it do just doesn't need the siege mode, the gimmick, right? It is smaller, has better concealment, but this thing has a turret. The HK Project 07 doesn't. It's weird. It has the armor, but there's so many weak spots, potential weak spots on this thing. I am struggling. I am really struggling to give a score higher than a 4 on this thing. Oh my god. I mean, you are outclassed in siege mode. You are outclassed in mobile mode. Well, then again, there's not that many mobile tier 9 tank destroyers. Not really. Most of them are assault guns. So fat, heavy, large, and in charge. There's no really Waffenträger-esque. Well, there is the Waffenträger Panzer IV, but it's not fast, like a Scorpion G or the Ship TVP 100. So there's no Hellcat at tier 9, but I am struggling to like this thing. If they buff the alpha of the gun, it might be a 6 out of 10. For now, it's a 4.5 or 4.25. It is disappointing to say the least. I mean, we have to see the actual armor model. If this thing is like a vacuum, there's nothing here, a void, then it might be a lot better. Same goes with, I doubt it for this lip on the commander chamber, but yeah, that is kind of prominent. That is larger than the cupola on the STRV 103s. It's also square compared to the dome shape. Yeah, it's a lot bigger than this. Yeah, a lot bigger. 4.25. I'm struggling with this thing. Well, I want to like it, but it's not a good crew trainer. It doesn't look that appetizing as a damage dealer. It doesn't have that much health, and there are so many weak spots, so 4.25. I want to like it. I really want to like it, but God, its stats are just so conflicting. Oh, there you go, folks. The KampfPz 3 Project 07 HK. But, I mean, we don't have good German tanks at high tier as premiums other than the Scorpion G, so they might buff it, hopefully, but leave your comment below if you think my rating is too low. I want to give it a high score, I really do, but God, this thing is so tilting. Well, there you go, folks. Thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.